Well, howdy folks, and welcome back to your home port. Today we're looking over a recently announced premium Tier 5 Russian destroyer, the Okhotnik, which has some interesting pros and cons. Now, before you get on me too hard, I gave that my best Canadian try. I don't speak Russian, but I'm doing my best with the name. So, as is usually the case with wargaming premium vehicles, Okhotnik is balanced by extremes in her specifications, as opposed to a more reasonable approach that would see them in closer alignment. Okhotnik has 7 130mm guns that only have a 9.2 kilometer firing range, 2 mounted forward and 5 mounted aft, with theoretical AP and HE damage maximums of 2500 and 1900 damage per round respectively. All of these guns can rotate 360 degrees though in their mounts, and that makes it much quicker to engage targets on either side of the ship. And that's a good thing, because this thing has a pretty slow turret rotation. There is some good news here looking at the torpedo armament, with a total of 12 torpedo tubes mounted in 4 triple tube launchers. These can all be fired at the same time, which is a gigantic wall of skill, which does seem a bit outrageous at Tier 5. A theoretical maximum damage of over 13,000 hit points each, traveling at 62 knots and a very low detection distance of only 1 kilometer makes this a fearsome arsenal indeed. Adding insult to injury is a very quick 47-second reload of each launcher. The only detractor from this heavenly situation is that the torpedoes have a teeny tiny range of only 4.5 kilometers. Anti-aircraft capabilities of Okhotnik are negligible. They cannot be relied upon for any kind of defense, and no amount of upgrades will bring them to an acceptable level, so don't waste your time trying that. As well, the armor profile is nothing special, with armor plating measuring between 10mm to 16mm, and your open gun mounts. They'll likely be knocked out by HE splash quite often. A health pool of 12,700 hit points is a bit more than the average Tier 5 destroyer, but the length of Okhotnik's hull gives opponents a lot to shoot at, so you'll need to conserve these hit points as best you can. Now, that might be a tall order, as maneuverability isn't Okhotnik's strong suit, with a slightly less than average top speed for Tier 5 destroyers and a huge ass sized turning circle of 730 meters. Rudder shift time is pretty good though at 3.2 seconds, but this will not make dodging incoming fire or torpedoes any easier because of that turning circle. Okhotnik is a fairly stealthy ship though, especially for her large size, with a 6.5 kilometer surface detection range. Not too bad. That is likely bolstered by her low profile on the water. Sadly, if you fire your guns, your detection range goes up by 5.9 kilometers, meaning you will never ever fire your guns from stealth unless you're behind a smokescreen or perhaps an island, due to your short 9.2 kilometer gun range. Now, when it comes to consumables and upgrades, the usual suspects are available here. No real surprise to see damage control party, smoke generator, and engine boost. Upgrades are equally ho-hum, so for your first slot, the 2 choices I would consider: magazine modification 1 to ensure you aren't detonated, but another contender would be the main armaments modification 1, keep your guns from being taken out by all that HE splash you're going to encounter. Second slot would see the aiming systems modification 1 loaded to help reduce dispersion, but since turret rotation is such a thing with the Okhotnik, you could consider the main battery modification 2 at the cost of some DPM. Choices for the third slot aren't really inspiring, providing a minimum of benefit, all of them, but I usually gravitate towards the damage control system modification 1 for a 3% reduction to the risk of flooding and a 5% reduction to the risk of fire. Alright, so that's been a pile of info in a short period of time. What should you take away from all this? Okhotnik is all about massive firepower. 7 130mm guns and 12 torpedo tubes. All this potential is tempered by both the guns and torpedoes' short firing ranges, and that could put you in harm's way in order to get your shots off. Pay attention to your ranges very carefully and look to fire from behind smoke or at distracted targets so you can close to optimal ranges in more safety and make those shots count. Well folks, there you have it. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like down below. If you really enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments. As well, be sure to visit my social media pages, both on Facebook and Twitter. This is where I post info that, well, not belonging in a video, it's worth taking a look at. Links to all things in the video description. Alright folks, thanks very much for stopping by and watching. I'll catch you next time.